What's up, Slay Nation? Justin Query, New York Kayak Series Director here with Josh Fusen, the other New York Kayak Series Director. Going to do a quick recap, a few other changes we're going to talk about, and then we're going to talk about 2023 a little bit before we take our winter break and everybody gets in their tree stands and do all their stuff. So what's going on, Josh? Good to see you again, man.
Good I just saw you,
like 4 days ago, I think, 3 days ago?
A couple days ago, last Saturday, out one last time in the kayaks.
Yeah, slammed them. Josh put up, no joke, like 25 bass. I think I only caught like 11, so Josh kicked my ass again. But a bunch of pike we both caught. We even had one do a swan dive on me, and then Josh caught him. So it was a good time out, but it was cold as shit. So I'm all done. I'm ready to go into the deer stand. But it was a good season, man. I know I'm glad it's over. I need a break, but at the same time, it's kind of bittersweet. So it was an interesting year. I know I started back in like February getting ready, so it's been a long year for me. But I know you had a up and down year, but I know you learned a lot, and that's the biggest takeaway for you is if you ain't winning or cashing a check, man, you're still learning something on the water and having a good time. So I know you did that. You caught your PB like I don't know how many times I lost count this year. So so that was a good season, man. What's up, everybody in the chat? We got a couple people in the chat. My dad's in the chat.
Eugenio's in the chat.
What's up, Gino? Gino's awesome, man. It's a good dude. Good to see everybody in the chat. Next year, so everybody knows, our 2023 directors. I will still be the director. I am staying on. I will be the lead director. Josh is going to jump in with me again. He was a huge help this year. I don't think I could have done it without Josh. So Josh is going to come back on board with me this year and run it. And two other directors that we're going to have, just guys that we're going to have helping us do setup, possibly some judging, things like that, will be Greg Kronk again, who was a director this year. And my dad's going to help out again wherever he's needed with raffles, the awards, whatever we got to have. So any four of us, we've been doing this long enough. If you got questions, reach out to any of us, myself, Josh, Greg Kronk, my dad, anybody else in there. Any of our members will give you point you in the right direction. So looking forward to next season. But let's talk a little bit about 2022, man. And before we get done with it, we started out this year with a civil war up on Cayuga Lake back in, what was that, June 6th or something like that?
May, I believe.
Or May 6th, I mean. I think it was like May 6th. Man, what a shootout that was. We had a blast. I know we both caught our PBs, had a blast pre-fishing, learned a ton. Uh, Shot right into what was that, Wasco next, or do we go Old Forge?
Give me
It's going to
two
be on the bottom of the
seconds.
screen. You'll see it. I
Ta.
forgot. 22 was 2022 is already a blur for me.
May 7th was Cayuga.
It's May 7th. Josh Brewer won that one. May 28th was at Wasco. So yeah, Wasco was another one. We had probably the worst conditions I've ever fished in for a tournament, as far as cold and rain, and it was just nuts out there.
Oh, it sucked.
It sucked, but the fishing was on fire. I didn't even take like a top. I don't think maybe I took fifth, and I had 90 inches, I think, and I didn't even take top three. We actually had a guy hit 100 inches. He had 3 open mouths that shot him down to 99 and a quarter, but that should have been our first triple digit score ever in New York and in Slay Nation, New York. So, but just crazy numbers from that one. It was a good tournament despite the cold. I think like the first 4 just sucked on the cold and rain and wind. But yeah, we went to Old Forge after that. What'd you think of those first couple like that?
I mean, you know me, I'm actually allergic to the cold, so they sucked for me. Like
Yeah,
I wasn't prepared right. I know, especially on Owasco, I left my damn rain jacket in the truck, so I was freezing. I know you said you stepped off the water at one point
went and
because
got a
it was
dry
so
towel.
cold. Yeah, it was it was bad. It was windy. I didn't know. I never got to pre-fish that one, so I had no idea where I was going. Like it sucked. It was
Yeah,
brutal.
it was tough.
There was
Fishing
definitely
was really
some
good,
big
but
fish caught. I know Paul caught that, what, 22 and a half?
22 and a half. Yeah, it was a giant. I was like 75 yards from him when he caught it. It was a friggin' giant. So yeah, that was a crazy tournament. I can't wait to go back there. I'm planning on going back in like April, May, just for fun. Get a couple people out there and go down in there and have some fun. I'm planning on that. Then we went into Old Forge after that, right? So
Fulton was after Owasco.
that's Old Forge.
Yep.
Um, Man, that was cold too. The wind got bad. Week before, we all went out pre-fishing. We crushed them. I mean, fishing was on fire. Tournament day, man, that was cold, cold, cold. The wind picked up. Fishing, I mean, I'm surprised. If, I think I took third in that one. Did Nielsen won that one? Chris Nielsen.
Yes.
Yeah, that was his win. Um, Fishing was actually pretty good despite the conditions for the people that were in the side. So yeah, and if that was a week prior to that, the tournament the numbers would have been so much better. It's just the weather dropped on us like 25 degrees that week.
I
Uh,
mean, that was the story with a lot of them. I know
it
Cayuga
was.
was the same way. We went down Cayuga 2 weeks before the tournament. We were smashing 20 inches. And then the day of the tournament, the wind and the cold just got so bad, they weren't where they were. Everything
Yep.
moved around. It shifted. We had that cold front. It just reset their spawn, and it was horrible. We had some
Yep.
bad luck this year.
We definitely did, but we had some good tournament there. And then we rolled into
Saranac.
Saranac Lake. Man, what a crazy tournament that one was. That's one I wish was on the tournament schedule every year, just because of the scenery and everything that you see out there. The amount of eligible water that's in play. Nobody's on top of each other or anything like that. Just an awesome place. Service sucks, but that's most of the Adirondack. So, but great tournament we had there with Battlefish. AJ was freaking awesome to work with. Yeah, Jared smashed him out there on that one. He smashed him basically every tournament he was in this year. But uh, then we rolled in Otisco. Myself and a bunch of us Slayers rolled down to the Susquehanna and had absolute blast down there. So you could talk about Otisco a little bit more because I wasn't there.
Oh, I know that time of year was a little bit rough on Otisco. The guys that were on them, they knew exactly where to go. I know myself, I launched down south. Um, Pre-fishing it like a week prior, was slamming them, had a great game plan. Then the actual tournament came up. Wind was crazy in the south. It was choppy as hell. I had my brother-in-law with me, and I know we at one point we said screw this and packed up and went to the north. Now wind wasn't bad up there, but the weeds were horrible. If you're somebody like me that uses a pedal drive, you could barely get around in it.
Yeah, it's the story of Otisco in that late summer. It gets tough on that place. So
I mean, the
uh,
fishing was still good. I saw some monsters go under
yeah,
me just by the time I could see them with the weeds and everything else, it was too late.
Yep. Yeah, there's some good fish caught. I mean, Dale won that one. Dale had a great bag. And I know Nate Yakuzo caught a really nice fish, that big bass he caught. So you guys still had a good time. I know there was a lot of entries at that tournament because of everybody going three different ways at other tournaments, but still, you guys did a good job. You ran a great tournament. Props to you on that one. My dad helping you out. You guys did good on whatever you guys are doing. And I think you judge all the fish?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, I mean, so props to you on that too. So it's not easy to judge fish
No,
while fishing either.
I
Did
apologize.
Greg
No,
help?
Greg helped judge
Yeah,
that one
Greg was
because
there.
Greg was at Otisco. So
Yep.
Greg did help me on that one.
Thought there
I
was somebody
know
else, but
one point I was just trying to get on the fish, and Greg was pretty much done. I was like, "Yo, judge these."
yeah, yeah. Greg was busy this year. I know a lot of people didn't see him, but Greg bought a new house over by Cayuga Lake, so he was busy with that. Like 3/4 of the year, just between buying the house and moving from one spot to another. So we'll see Greg at a lot more tournaments next year.
That also
Um,
means awards at Greg's house for Cayuga next year and
oh,
giant
sleepover, man.
barbecue.
Yeah, big
Yeah,
sleepover.
he said we can all pitch tents in the yard.
Yeah, big sleepover. All 50 people are going to show up. Hopefully, he's got a big yard. I'm really excited about that one, man. Just going back there, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Pete
Um,
Van Dien's in. What's up, Pete?
what's up, Pete? Yeah, it's good to see Pete back on the water this year. He was crushing at the end of the year, so hopefully we see him, and I'm sure we will next year. But what do we have after Saranac?
Ontario Ponds.
Ontario Ponds. Yeah, that was my tournament, man. I never even fished that place, but except for ice fishing, actually, that's my ice fishing spot. But pre-fishing, man, I went into that one and absolutely freaking smashed them. I had to leave. It was so bad, and I got out of there. Didn't show back up for like a week and a half, and for tournament day. Didn't pre-fish the whole week before it, and just hoped my fish were in the same spot, and they were. The first 3 hours, I hammered them. So that was an awesome tournament. At least a couple of us got on some good fish, but there's some big ones in that place too. I think if we hit that earlier in the year, there could be some big limits. I mean, easily could have mid 90s on that tournament if we do that earlier in the year. Yeah, and then we finished up at Tupper Lake. Uh, tough tournament for me, man. I dropped two off a fucking board. I can't even believe I did it still. Sorry for my language, but man, still pissed I dropped them. I dropped one right next to um, Jake Turner, right next to me. I was measuring it, didn't use my net, got sloppy, flew off. The other one I was next to my dad, like 20 yards from him, flipped off. Just stupid mistakes I made, but the fish were there, man. I know if like Nunziata would have signed up, he would have smashed all of us, dude. Because I fished by him, and that dude was. I think he finished with like 94 inches, but he wasn't in that. He was just running the KFL stuff. But
I know with
uh,
who we had, Tupper was the closest tournament we had this year.
oh,
Because
it's 86 and a half,
first
86,
place was
86.
86 and a half, second and third were 86, and then I took third. Chris Nielsen took second because he
Yep.
had a fish that was like 2 inches bigger than my big bass.
Yep.
So
Story of your life, always a half inch bigger.
yeah,
But yeah, hey man, that was a good tournament, man. I mean, it just
I know I was scrambling right to the very end to try and get that 16 and a half to take first.
it was close. But yeah, that's I think a lot of people we have done that one 2 years in a row. We've done Saranac 2 years in a row. We've done a few of them 2 years in a row. So the biggest feedback I got from people at the end of the year was they wanted new lakes. They just didn't want to fish the same bodies of waters again. And they wanted me to try to deconflict with other tournament schedules. So I worked my ass off trying to, and you know this, Josh, trying to find the right dates for the schedule to deconflict with NYKBF, deconflict with other tournament schedules, Bassmasters. None of those guys are coming up anywhere near our dates. I mean, I went through all of it to make sure that we were to get the most people we could at all of our tournaments. I think the biggest issue I saw was we'd have a tournament the same day as NYKBF, and we were forcing people to choose, and that sucks, man, because a lot of our guys they want to do both, So making them choose that's not what I'm trying to do, and so next year I think there's only one tournament in the whole season that's on the same date, and I think that's like. I think it's for us it's St. Lawrence River, and so I couldn't move that because I've been playing that for a long time. It's the first St. Lawrence River kayak fishing tournament. going on, and we're going to be hosting it. So I'm pretty excited
Not
about that.
only
And I don't
not
want to
only
move
that,
that.
but it's on opening weekend. Like you
Opening
can't
weekend of
get better
Bass,
than
yeah,
that.
yeah. Opening weekend of Bass is that like Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever that is, and then like that Saturday is our tournament. So yeah, so I didn't want to move that one, but all the other tournaments do not conflict with NYKBF, and that was definitely on purpose so people could do more than one tournament series if they want to. I'm planning on doing that. They have Cayuga Lake is on uh, a week after our Cayuga Lake next year, so I'm planning on doing both. So, but yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But that was our 2022 season. Tupper Lake was the last one. Shout out to Jack Tibbins too, by the way, for winning that last tournament. He had an awesome day. But great year. Chris wins Jansen wins Angler of the Year. Snuck by Josh Brewer and myself, Jake Turner, and who's the other one? Chris Nielsen. He snuck by us in that last tournament. So shout
Well,
out to Chris Wins Jansen on that one for winning Angler of the Year and
Vince
representing us.
Jansen's like a ninja. You can't ever underestimate that guy. He'll
Well,
just
he tried
sneak
to do it
right
to me
in.
last year, man. When he snuck in last year, and he almost got me. And then
Almost.
and this year he did get me, so he got his revenge. We had a close race. That was one thing that was positive was our race was never out of the picture for anybody. We had six guys going into Tupper Lake that had a chance to win Angler of the Year. So that was my goal is to keep it close all the way. I mean, if somebody wins 3, 4, 5 tournaments, they're going to run away with it. But the way we were, I don't think nobody won 2 tournaments for our series. So uh, it was just close all the way to the end. So hopefully it runs that way next year. But that was the 2022 season. 2023 is going to come faster than people think. But first thing I want to do is talk about memberships. I've had a couple of people ask me when that starts. You're going to see all kinds of posts from Frankie. October, November, like end of October, November for the signups. I believe November is going to be when everybody starts signing up. Um, we've already got 5 members before signups even start, so we're already off to a good start. Um, so along with that, anybody that's watching uh, Rams off the bait uh, shop,
He's off
Battlefish,
the hook
anybody
bait shop.
else off the hook bait shop, any of you guys that are watching that want to sponsor us again next year, just reach out to me. Reach out to Josh, either one of us, and let us know you want to run it back. We had a couple others. We had a couple local bait shops that kind of flaked out. Um, and we'll have Nitro hopefully back on board. I still have enough. I actually found I went through all my gear, and we have enough that they gave me to supply at least 2 or 3, 4 more tournaments worth of raffle prizes just from those guys. So I'll talk to Nitro, try to get them back on for next year, uh, and then we'll go from there. Yes, there's Eugene's in there, so yeah, he's all for it. So yeah, Gino's got a pretty cool bait shop. If you guys haven't checked out Gino, man, he makes all kinds of custom lures. I always ask him for custom weird ass colors, and he nails them every time. So if you want something, man, get a hold of Gino. I'll post his name right here so you can see it. That's Rams off the hook bait shop on Facebook, Instagram too. So hopefully we get Battlefish back next year. I'm sure AJ will be back with us. We had an awesome year with AJ. He sold a lot of rods to our guys. So hopefully we can run that back with him again and get another Angler of the Year rod from him.
Anybody that hasn't seen AJ's rods, I can personally attest that it's one of the best rods I've ever owned.
Yeah. All of those right there are Battlefish. All of them.
Yeah, you got
So
what, like 20 of them at this point?
now I only have 8 because I broke 2 of them. So AJ, you got some more business coming. So yeah, so anybody else, if you guys know anybody that might want to sponsor us, we don't ask for a lot, uh, just to get on board with us. They can hook us up with a bunch of stuff for raffles, with some discounts, cash, whatever people want to do. They can sponsor Big Bass with us, whatever we want to do. So just let us know what you guys want to do, and for 2023, and hopefully we can get 3, 4 more sponsors on and get a little bit more for all you guys. But that's it for the membership sponsor stuff. Uh, let's talk about the rule changes before we talk about the schedule, because a lot of rules are always changing amongst tournaments. There's probably more rules that are going to be changing before next year because KBF and all these others likes to change their rules. They tweak them every year. So we'll have to get spun up on those and see what gets changed. Hopefully not much, but for us, I had to make a couple decisions on this. I talked with Josh about it, and the other two directors I've talked to about some of these, and we made the decision to reduce our minimum size limit on our bass from 12 inches minimum to 10-inch minimum. Uh, the reason we're doing that is for one, anytime we work with another tournament series like NYKBF, we want to do the same rules, just like we did this year. And when we did it this year, we had to change our rules to go with theirs to make it even. So just to make it easier going forward, I want to make it across the board the same for NYKBF. So we're going to follow them a lot on their rules, and they follow KBF. So if you're wondering on any major rule changes or want to know the understanding on them, you have to go to kayak bass fishing. They are the
Good night,
default
boss.
rule. Good night, buddy.
Good night. Love you. Go to bed. Go.
Gee, you didn't even give me a gritty on the way out? No, no gritty.
Go.
Okay,
Seriously,
no
go.
gritty.
I'm on a live. There's a bunch
Uh,
of people watching.
but yeah, we're going to do 10-inch minimum. I know a lot of our tournaments, man. We had tough conditions, and I don't think anybody's going to win it with 5 10-inch fish. So I don't think that's going to make a big change in the top three or anything like that. But if it helps some of our newer guys, we have a lot of new anglers that have never done kayak tournaments or this is their first year. And if that helps them get a couple extra fish on the board that are 10, 11 inches, it's not going to make a difference. They still caught the fish. They did everything they were supposed to do, just as what they do as NYKBF. So we are going to permanently switch to a 10-inch minimum. You got any thoughts on that?
I know I can speak personally. Going out there fishing, and there was two different tournaments this year that I got skunked on, and literally everything I was catching was 10 and 11 inches, and it's super discouraging to be on fish and still not get one on the
Uh,
board. At least for like some of our newer guys, they're not going to feel that discouragement because if you catch a 10-inch fish, you can say, "Hey, I still got one on the board," instead of going home and say, "I got nothing."
yep. That was my thoughts on it, and I don't want to keep changing the rules back and forth when we do get to work with these other guys because I really enjoy working with New York Kayak Bass Fishing, Justin Hausner, and all their guys. John Tavaro, just awesome tournament directors. I kind of try to model our series after them because they've been doing this for I think 6 7 years. I don't even know. It could be longer, but Justin's been killing it. I've been fishing with them since the start, along with Adirondack. Both series are awesome, so I kind of try to follow what they do and keep a lot of the same rules as they do. So we're going to do that. We're going to keep the catch only rule. We made an exception for Cayuga Lake this year because of the other tournament series that are coming. Um, that could happen, I guess, if we get 3 4 other tournament series and they don't use catch only. But my goal is to do catch only again this year. I don't see that changing. So catch board only. If you don't have a catch board, make sure you get one instead of trying to borrow one. Um, use your Slay Nation discount if you don't have it. Reach out to Frankie because I think he posted it somewhere, wasn't it? If not, I think I have it. But
I'm
yeah,
not
there should
sure.
be. I think there's a discount for that. If not, if it's not Slay Nation, there's another discount code I know of. So if you need a discount, reach out to me. I got you on the catch boards.
And I will say, when you order it, make sure you click the 26-inch. I have
Yeah,
an extra catch board because I accidentally ordered the 32.
yeah. You just thought you were gonna catch big fish, but this ain't Texas, my brother.
Hey, I mean, that pike I caught Saturday would go on there just
That
fine.
is true. I have a 32 for that. Yeah, and the other rule, the big rule, is launch rules. We did allow public and private launches this year. That started in the previous director before we took over. And I don't think it's a major issue. I still like that idea because it offsets the guys that don't have a motor like I do. It gives them kind of an equal playing field. But we had too many people that had issues with that, and every time we work with another tournament series, we have to go back to public only anyway. So at this point, we're going to go back to public launch only, state boat launches, town village boat launches. You know the rules, just like kayak bass fishing. Public launches only.
We
Uh,
still allowing marinas that you have to
yep,
pay to launch
public
at
as long
because
as
anyone can
everybody
use it.
can pay for it. A pay to use launch as long as everybody can do it. It's okay. You just can't go this year or next year uh, down to some old lady and slide her $20 and let her have you launch at her spot or her house. Some people had an issue with that, so I get it. So we'll just go back to public launch only, with the exception of two bodies of water. Cranberry and Black Lake, both of our July events we will allow people to remotely launch because there's camping available on both lakes, all over the place, and especially Cranberry because there's an island you can camp on. So we're going to allow those two that you can launch at any of those campgrounds, camping spots. If you get a water site at one of those two, you can launch from there. I don't care. So the 2 July tournaments, you'll be able to do the launching at campgrounds or if you want to talk to an old lady for $20, you can get her spot for those two. Good luck finding one on Cranberry, but the
Al
biggest
knows them
reason is
all.
for camping. Yeah, he probably does. But the biggest reason is for camping because we had, if it's kind of like Saranac Lake, where you can camp on an island, and then I don't want to make you go all the way back to the launch, you know, the morning of a tournament. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So it's a safety issue too with people going out in the water at dark. Um, that's pretty much my only big rule changes that I can think of right now. I'm sure there's going to be other rules that we talk about as the winter goes and other rules are changed. Um, I know there's things going on with other tournament series, like major tournament series right now, with um, rewording the rule book because things are kind of open to interpretation sometimes, and people will always, you know, push the limit on that. So, but other than that, that's all for the rules. And so the last thing we can talk about is the 2023 schedule. I'm going to pull that up on the screen so everybody can see that. I know everybody's seen it. Josh made a big post on it a couple weeks ago, right? Like 2 weeks ago, a week
Uh,
ago.
2 or 3 weeks ago, something
Yeah.
like that.
So he gave you guys a preview of the schedule. Um, let's run down through it real quick. 429 Cayuga Lake. Um, Planning on doing another Civil War. I know we thought we were going to go back to Pennsylvania to do a Civil War and flip flop, but everybody enjoyed Cayuga Lake so much they want to run it back, and so we're going to do it again. And we might even have some other tournament trails show up. We might be able to get Connecticut Division One and Division Two. Hopefully, maybe New Jersey or Pennsylvania or Pennsylvania will be coming up, but some of these other trails, we're going to try to get them to come up too. And so it won't be just New York versus Pennsylvania. We could have 4 or 5 states fighting in this. So looking forward to that one. I did move it back a week. Originally, I did have it starting on 5/6, I believe, but New York Kayak Bass Fishing is doing their tournament that day on Cable Lake, so I wanted to give them that luxury. They had first, they already had their schedule done, so I went back a week. Um, Weather could be an issue for that one. Could be snowing for all we know. We could be some pretty bad weather. Um, as we get closer to March, we'll kind of know if it's going to be just like this year. Because if you would have went 429 this year, you would have had probably the best fishing in your life. So I don't think we're going to have an issue, but we could have a problem with weather. So just be prepared for that one. We're going to go just a couple weeks later, um, and go over to Oneida Lake. I know we didn't go there this year. We did go there last year for a tournament. Our first tournament, actually, Slay Nation New York history was ever on was on Oneida Lake. Actually, it snowed that day too. So,
Yep.
uh,
It was
uh,
snowing when we launched that morning.
yep, my first official win. But Oneida Lake is pretty awesome. I know a lot of people wanted to get back to it, so we're gonna go back to Oneida Lake 513. Um, 617 is the big one. 617 right there. That's opening weekend bass. That is St. Lawrence River. If you've never fished the St. Lawrence River, you are in for a hell of a tournament. There's some absolute friggin' giants in that place, largemouth and smallmouth, depending on where you go. I don't know the boundaries and how that's going to set up yet. I'm going to work with Dale Van Horn, Brad. Those two fish it all the time. Not trying to take their spots or anything like that, but um, that'd be cool if they would give us their spots, but
Mhm.
they're not that stupid. But we're gonna talk to them about where to keep this, where it keeps everybody safe, and give a big enough boundary where we can not be on top of each other, instead of just keeping it to like one bay. So I'll
That's
talk to
our
some of these guys. What's that?
that's our biggest thing is safety.
Yeah, I don't want to. Dale knows because Dale has been in it much more than I have in a boat. So the biggest thing is like Dale will be able to tell us like, hey, you go outside this boundary and it gets 15, 20 mile an hour winds, you're talking where somebody could die. That's what we're trying to avoid. So we're going to be leaning on some of you guys that are local that fish it, like, and if you fish it often and, when we get closer to that point, come talk to me so we can, when we're working on boundaries, that's one. there's fish all over that damn river. So it's not about finding the fish as much as playing it safe, because you get a bad wind on St. Lawrence and we're in some trouble. So, uh, but we'll be all right. We'll get on some big fish. We'll have a good tournament there. 7-8. We're going to Cranberry Lake. We did that last season, 2021. Um, Previous director is a giant dumbass and doesn't know how to schedule, so he did a two tournaments in 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. Screwed up the whole schedule, like in the middle of the season. Don't ask me what he was thinking. So only like 11 people showed up to Cranberry last year because it was on Sunday. But that place has the potential to put up absolute giants. I mean, my dad's PB is from there, like 21 and 3/4, like a 6'8", I think is a 6'5" or something like that fish was. It was an absolute giant. Uh, I've had several days where I've gone there, caught 2, 3, 4, 20-inch fish in the same day. I never even fished it this year, not once. No bullshit. Never went there one time because we were so busy with our schedule and doing other tournament schedules. So I never even got to fish it this year. So I'm excited to go back there next year. I'm excited to get you guys back there next year and hopefully get a bigger crowd, because I'd like to see 25, 35, 40 people out there. And if we do, people are going to break some big limits. I think I had 88 inches there with only 11 people in that tournament. So we get a lot more people there. People are going to get in some big fish. There's
I
there's
mean,
15,
shoot.
20-pound pike in there too.
Hoops ended up with over 80 inches, and he had to start 3 hours late because he
Yeah,
forgot his paddle.
yeah. I mean, that place can get shady when the wind is up. I'm not going to bullshit you. If that place is windy, you're gonna be a little nervous out there. But um, you just got to be smart about it. That place has so many backwater creeks and channels and ponds and whatever shit. I mean, you can find place. Um, so we'll figure that out. The other thing is, like, that one, you could camp on a couple different spots. You can camp at really anywhere. There's all kinds of primitive camping spots. It's first come, first serve. Um, so you could camp that and then just launch in the morning right from your campsite and, on an island, and like just go out and fish. That's a pretty cool tournament. 7/29, we're going to run down to Black Lake. I have never been to that lake in my life. I've never fished it even on the ice, but they hold local bass events there every single weekend. They've been doing it my entire life, uh, and I know there's a lot of giant fish in this place. I mean, there's 20s regularly caught in this place. It's a huge lake. It is technically part of the Indian River Lakes, which is the tournament after that. But we separated it out because it's huge. I can't remember how big it is, um, but it's a giant fish. It's a giant lake.
Pete says he's fished it.
Yeah, Pete's fished it quite a few times, and he said some good things about it. So I'm excited to get everybody there. If they hold bass tournaments there every weekend, there's a reason for it. There's Pete right there saying, lots of big fish, and he's serious. There's some big fish in there, so I expect some big limits caught by our anglers. Really excited about that one going on the schedule. And then we go into 8/19, and that's the Indian River Lakes. We did have that on the schedule in 2021. I missed that one. That's when Dad was in the hospital, so we both missed it.
I missed it too.
Yeah, you missed that one. That's a
That
local
was,
tournament for us too.
yeah,
So, that's a fun little spot. Indian River Lakes is technically, like, I can't even count how many lakes it is, like 15 or
18 of them.
18. 18.
I can
Um,
tell you that's where I went Saturday, was one of the Indian River lakes, and I was just smashing them.
yeah,
They're fun. Those are my home lakes. That's where I like to go when I'm
yeah,
not out doing tourneys.
same here. So yeah, but we are gonna cut that down to like 6 lakes. I think it's 6 lakes that I have on the list. And the reason I'm cutting that down is to make it easier on these guys that are from out of town, that are 3 hours away. They shouldn't have to come up here with only one day of pre-fishing and try to figure out 18 different lakes. I don't really think that's fair. So we're going to cut it down to 6 lakes, and then do your best research and pre-fish and figure out which one you want to use. And then we're going to go from there. And that should be a fun tournament. Chris Wins Jensen won it in 2021. Uh,
He
and
just
so,
he just joined too, Chris. We're not going to let you do that tournament. Just so you know, you're banned from Indian River Lakes.
yeah, we were told it was too easy for Chris last time. Yeah, whatever that means. I don't know. It's never easy catching bass in a tournament, so I don't know what that whole shit was about. But yeah, then we got our finale, man, and I know our schedule went a little different ways, but starting from 5/13 down, we didn't have a lake that we fished in 2022, which was my number one goal. Is everybody wanted new lakes outside of Cayuga, So it's all new lakes. Because of the way things turn out, where we end up in the Adirondacks a little bit and up in St. Lawrence, Franklin County, I wanted to cut it back towards the Finger Lakes for the finale. I think that's fair. Every other year, I think we'll just alternate where we go Finger Lakes for the finale, and then the other opposite year we'll come up this way and do uh, I don't know, something from Jefferson County up towards Saranac Lake, somewhere in between there, and we'll just keep alternating. I think that's the only fair way to do it is just keep it on a rotating schedule because there's people. It's hard to make it central. There is no central location. Uh, if it's central to me, it's not central to most of you. There's people that live in Saratoga. There's people that live in Buffalo area. So, and there's people that live all the way where Pete lives. So, and everywhere in between. So we're going to go back down to Onondaga Lake. We did not fish that this year. Uh, I hate Onondaga, so don't think I did that as any favors to me because I hate that place. But
I know
I heard it was fishing really good though this year.
Van Horn, Dale was saying there were some monsters being pulled out of there this year.
Yeah, I heard a couple of different people told me it fished really well, so maybe that's a good sign for next year. That's why I put it back on the schedule. I didn't want to use Otisco again. I didn't want to use um, Oneida, obviously for obvious reasons on the schedule. Uh, Cayuga Lake's already taken, so it was really down to Owasco or Owasco, Seneca, or Onondaga. So we're going to do Onondaga with a twist. Probably going to have Three Rivers as part of that. It's some variation of Three Rivers. It might only be Seneca River. I'm not sure, but the river will be in play for that tournament. So if you're not a lake fisherman and you'd rather be fishing in the river, you're going to have that opportunity for the finale. Um, Not sure we can take some feedback on this one because I'm open to ideas. I'd like to figure out a better way to do the finale. I don't want it to be the same payout and the same everything as the rest of the tournament. It's just the finale. If everybody wants a 2-day tournament, I'm fine with that. I don't care. If everybody wants a 1-day tournament with higher payout, we can do that too. We can do 1.5 points, whatever anybody, we're open to suggestions on that to make it a little bit different, to make it an actual championship worth a little bit more than the other tournaments. Uh, Open to any ideas, throw them in the comments on this video if you got any ideas for what you'd like to see for an Angler of the Year championship. Because as of right now, I think this year we only did $20 more, maybe $25 more. Yeah, MLF format would be fun, especially that time of year. Yeah, so that's the last part of our schedule. We're going to finish up there. We'll crown our Angler of the Year at Onondaga Lake. We will crown the top 10 in Angler of the Year, which leads us into the last part of our schedule. If you haven't been seeing it yet, we have the New York Invitational. It's a brand new tournament. This concept was created by New York Kayak Bass Fishing, and it's basically they want to create a true state championship. There's never really been a true state championship where there's actual qualifiers for people to get into. So what it's going to be basically is the 6 major clubs from New York. And I can't name them all off my top of my head, but Slay Nation, New York, NYKBF, Adirondack Kayak Bass Fishing, Southern New York, Hudson Valley. There's another one I'm not thinking of. But all 6 of those clubs will send their top 10 in Angler of the Year to the Invitational, and you'll compete in a team format and in a solo format for prizes. Huge payouts for that one. Bunch of sponsors. We're gonna have like a little mini expo. So if you're a business, fishing business, and you want to come and sell some stuff at that mini expo, that's the opportunity for you to do that. A lot more info on that will come later, but this is going to be the start of a huge tournament, annual tournament for New Yorkers, where we send the best 60. So we've got 6 clubs. We're sending the top 10 from each, plus the directors. So you're going to see 66 people roughly in that tournament with some big payouts, big prizes. We already got some great sponsors on board that Justin Hausner's already worked with. So I'm pretty excited about that one. I'm even going to try to work it out with Slay Ray and get some customized jerseys for our top 10 to go to that team of Invitational with. So we'll work on some team jerseys and all that stuff for that. But that's the schedule for 2023. Uh, Josh, what are you most excited about of the schedule, or least excited about?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm most excited for the Indian River Lakes. I know I didn't get to fish that one either, and like I said, those are my go-to spots. This year was last week was the first time I've even been on them this year. We've been so busy, but that's where I get away from my kids.
Yeah, I got you on that one. Um, I think for me, it's got to be St. Lawrence River. I'm excited about what that could be. I have no idea yet. I don't know what the boundaries will be. Like I said, I don't know if it's just going to be 3 or 4 bays or what it's going to be. But I'm excited. I know we got people coming from out of state just to fish that tournament. So we got some competition coming for that one.
We got the PA guys coming in.
I'm sure of that. Um,
Jake Stem.
oh, I'm sure he's coming for that one. Cayuga Lake's obviously going to be a big one for me too, just because it's Cayuga Lake.
I'm ready
Uh,
for some redemption on that one.
Yeah, me too, man. I only got, and we did so good, both of us in practice. And I only put 4 fish on tourney day. It's, I didn't fish clean. It's on I made a lot of mistakes this year. Didn't fish clean, but that one really pissed me off because I fished so well in practice. I was so patterned in
I
practice, and I
mean,
was not on the bridge, the community bridge. I had my own spot,
we
just like
both
you
put
did.
up we both put up 100 inches pre-fishing that
Yeah,
day.
easily. Um, yeah. So it is what it is. I definitely want some redemption on it. But the rest of the schedule, I like that we're having all new tournaments, new lakes that we haven't been on, or we haven't been on at least in 2 years. Um, so I'm excited about that. The other part of the schedule, almost forgot to talk about it, is the tag team championship. Um, we are going to introduce a new format that is going at the same time as these tournaments are going on. We're going to have a tag team tournament going on. Tourney X is now allowing some increased capability for team tournaments, where you can run a team tournament at the same time as a solo tournament. So prizes for the solo tournament entries, all that will stay the same. My plan on the tag team, we'll have a side pot, maybe $25 a team, $20 a team, whatever everybody decides. We'll do a poll on that when it comes time, and we'll have a side pot. Your side pot will only go to the winner. It's a winner takes all. The winning team will take the whole side pot, whatever it is, and they can just split it amongst the two of them. Um, so if there ends up being 15 teams at $20 a piece, you can do the math. That's $300 going, $150 to each one of those teammates. Just another little incentive on the side to put money in people's pocket. And on top of that, if you're having a bad day fishing, which we all will and do, you can keep fishing and fishing hard because your teammate might need you just for 1 or 2 fish. I'm not going to combine your 5 and your teammate's 5. We're going to do for the team format is the best 5 for the team. So you'll have your individual 5 for the solo part, for Angler of the Year, for the big payouts, all the normal stuff, the plaques, all of that will still all be individual based. But your score, along with your teammate score, put them together, and whatever your best 5 fish are together, whether it's, let's say it was me and my father, we're teammates, which I'm sure we will be. Uh, if my dad catches all 5 of the 5 best fish and all 5 of mine were smaller than his, so be it. We go by his score. But we're going to put together your best 5 fish from your your tag team, and we'll put that score together, and we'll do a ranking off that. At the end of the year, we'll do an Angler of the Year um, for the individual, like we did this year, that Chris won, and we will crown a tag team champion. The tag team champion will come with tag team championship belts, just like AJ had a belt this year for Battlefish. We're going to have 2 tag team championship belts that you'll get. So to start thinking ahead, figure out who your partner is, who you want to fish with. Um, I'm sure my dad already claimed me, so and I'm claiming him. I'm sure. So start thinking ahead who your teammate's going to be. Um, your teammate does not change. So once you pick a partner, if you change partners, let's say you first 2 events you had a teammate and then something happened with him and you're not his teammate anymore, your scores reset with your new team. You don't get to carry that over. So it's pick your teammate, be smart about who you pick. If you don't have a teammate, when we go into the season, you just reach out to me and I'll pair people up. because we're going to have people that don't have a partner, and we'll pair people up. Some people would rather be partnered up randomly like that. Uh, but yeah, it's just something fun. You don't have to do it at all if you don't want to do it. If you don't want to be part of it, if you don't want nothing to do with that, no problem. But just wanted to introduce another way to use the capability from Tourney X, because there's no added cost to use that feature, and do a little side pot and see who can have the best 2-man team. Um, we don't want people cheating or throwing fish or doing anything weird. But that's why we combine and use best 5 combined for both. It doesn't. You won't introduce any weird shit where people might want to think about doing that. Um, so catch your best 5. Your partner catches his best 5. If I guarantee we'll hit 100 inches at a tournament or two because of that. It's almost a guarantee. Probably Cayuga Lake. So Angler of the Year, we're going to talk about that. But the tag team, the way that's going to be is Cayuga Lake all the way through Onondaga. You can fish with your partner in every event. We will take the best 5 of your scores, whatever that total inches is, and I'm going to add up your total inches, and we'll just do it total inches for the tag team championship. So best 5 scores. So there's 7 tournaments. You get to call 2 of your low scores out, and that's how we'll do it. Angler of the Year is also going to be your best 5 out of 7 this year. It was only 4 out of 7. We're going to up that to 5. And Josh, I'll let you talk about the changes in the Angler of the Year system, because we are going to make some changes to that.
All right. So last year we tried something new. We went to points versus inches.
Which
There's
was
things
better.
there was things we liked, things we didn't like. We definitely liked the fact that it was everybody was more had more of a chance to win. You know, the way it is with inches, if you have somebody like at the beginning of the year smashes them on Cayuga, puts up 100 something inches, it's going to be hard to catch up to that in Angler of the Year. So the points definitely helped. Problem that we were finding with it is it wasn't balanced. So basically, I've been crunching numbers. We've been doing a lot of trial and error, and what we found that's going to work is doing it the points still, but based on how many people signed up. Because like Cayuga, there was 50 something people there.
50.
So there was 50 exact.
Yep.
So if you take 10th place on Cayuga, 50 people, how are you going to compare that to taking 10th place when there's only 13 people in the tournament?
Right.
So I put up a little point system here. Basically, take the 100 points, divide it by how many people are in the tournament. So say you got 20 people, that's going to be a 5 point difference. Now, first place, we're still going to do 100 points. Second place, we're going to do 98 points. Third place, we're going to do 95 points. Those are set no matter what. Now, say you got 20 people, I said that's a 5 point difference. So then fourth place is going to be 90 points. Fifth place would be 85 points, and so forth.
Yep.
It's to make it a little bit more fair, because I mean, if you come in there and you get skunked and take 12th place versus coming in and getting skunked and taking 50th place, there's a big difference in that. And we didn't feel like you should have the same amount of points for fishing a tournament with less people.
Right.
So
Yeah.
again, this is another new one we're trying out. Doing the numbers, it looks like it's going to work. If there's issues with it, you might see it being adjusted again next year. We're going to keep going with it until we get it perfect and something that's fair and makes it better for everyone.
Yeah. I think my goal in it is just to, one, uh, not not allow the first couple tournaments to be the most important. I want every tournament to be equal, in its importance, whether it's the first tournament or the sixth tournament or seventh tournament. And like you said, if you get fifth place in a tournament with 50 people in it, man, you're beating 45 people. That's a lot of people you just beat. But if you took fifth place when you only beat, there's a low entries, only 12 people in the tournament, you only beat 7 people. But you got the same amount of points this year. And I know this wasn't really just coming from me. There was other anglers that brought this to me. That was something that we should change, and I agreed with them.
Everyone we talked to loved the point system. They just didn't like the unbalance. So
Right.
hopefully we figured out a way to balance it out a little bit more.
And I think going into it, we had 45 club members last year. I guess I the reason I thought that the point system was balanced, even though it wasn't, is because I thought we would have 30 to 40 people at every tournament. That was, and that's obviously not possible for probably a lot of tournaments. Um, so, last year I didn't think that would be an issue. I think I put in the rules like if it went to 50 members in one tournament, we would change the points to like 150, but it never got past 50 members, so we never were able to do that. And if that would have happened, that would have thrown the whole point system off. If somebody could have won 150 at one of the tournaments and none of the others, that would have thrown everything off. So I just want it to be balanced. I want it to be equal importance for all of our tournaments, and I want everybody going into the last for two tournaments, especially the last tournament. I want a lot of people to have an opportunity to still win. I don't want it to be where we're in tournament number 4 and it's already over. Tournament number 5 and it's already sealed. That can still happen if you win 2 or 3, 4 tournaments, but just like this year, nobody won 2 tournaments, so I don't think that'll be an issue. So that's why the point system is going to be weighted. Josh did a really good job coming up with a weighted point system, like he said. Uh, it's very simple math. 100 points divided by however many people are going to be in it, and that's the drop factor after third place. And we kept top 3 as a set number of points just because it's still important. If you get first, second, third, no matter how many people are in a tournament, it's important to get top 3. So don't really want to take away from those people to get third place just because there's only 10. You still got third. The only other thing I could think of is, yeah, just slave members only two. Yeah, so just some good point from my dad. Just so you guys know, I'm gonna let you know now. This has always been this way with Slay Nation. I didn't do it this way, but Slay Nation, you got to be a member of Slay Nation to fish Slay Nation tournaments. The reason for that is because of liability waivers. There's like all kinds of other issues, insurance, all kinds of crap goes with it. And this year, when we had a non-member join, I had to use Tourney X to have them agree to terms and conditions. And I'm sure that's fine, but it just got weird not knowing anybody's emergency contact info. There's all these other weird things that come into play. It's above my head. It's on Frankie's level, where it comes into the insurance and liability, and we cannot be responsible for that. So for 2023, you will need a Slay Nation membership to fish in any of our events. If
That
we
was
do a combined event, which we don't have any plan for 2023, but if we were to do one, we would remove that restriction. But as of now, we're not doing any dual tournaments next year. So you have to be a Slay Nation member. It doesn't have to be Slay Nation New York. Any Slay Nation from any other state, you can come fish with us. We had Connecticut guys come fish with us in our Angler of the Year finale, and he won it. And that's cool with us because he's Slay Nation. We're not going to make you pay more on a membership either. So if you're a Slay Nation member anywhere in the country, you can come fish with us. I know some people are not going to like that they have to sign up for a membership. My theory is on it, we spend more than that probably in gas to go to a tournament. So for all the work that Frankie and for what we put into Slay Nation, I think it's the right thing to do to have people sign up for the membership and not allow the non-members. It is what it is. I know some people are not going to like that, but it creates too many other issues with rules and waivers, and just don't want to get into that next year. So hopefully that encourages people to sign up with us. It's only $60. You get a jersey, you get other stuff with it, you get a whole crap load of discounts, and you're eligible for all kinds of stuff with us when you do sign up. So it's worth the $60. This year we had it this year, so if you were a non-member, you did sign up with us, you pay $10 extra anyway. So you do a couple of those non-member fees, you're already halfway to paying the membership. You might as well just pay the membership and get yourself a jersey and all of those other things you get with it. So to make it simple, I talked with you, Josh, about it. I talked with Greg, and I talked with my dad, and we made the decision to use the Slay Nation national rule, which is you got to be a Slay Nation member. So I'm sorry for the people that pisses off. I know there's going to be a few of you. It is what it is. Got to be a member of Slay Nation to fish next year.
just so everyone knows too, that was another big reason Justin went through and like collaborated with all the other trails to make sure none of our events lined up with theirs because he wanted to make sure that if you wanted to do one of ours, you could sign up and be able to do it instead of having to choose between the two.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a few people that did events this year that didn't sign up for Slade just because there were so many events we had during other ones that they were going to go do.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, and that's just there's a lot of reasons that we're doing it, not just one or two reasons, but sponsorships reasons, the people that are giving us all these raffle prizes. Um, it's they want it going to people that are paying the membership, and I understand that. So that's where we're going to roll next year. We did it for Cayuga Lake. Hopefully that just encourages people to sign up for our membership. And we had 45 members this year. I'm pushing for 50. I think we can beat it.
I think we can hit 60.
I hope so. But my goal is 50. Josh's goal is 60. Let's see if we can get up there and at least get back to that. And my other thing is I just hope we can get back to having, we had 3 or 4 tournaments where we only had 17, 18 members signing up. So if you had an issue with a tournament, we don't take any bad heart when you give us negative feedback. Give us the reason why. If you don't like the location, if that's what it is, that's fine. And we can't put them all within an hour of everybody, but
Nielsen's guessing 62.
see, he just has to go over one on you. That way he's
Well,
playing the.
I mean, I did message him like 2 weeks ago and tell him he was going to be my tag team partner. So
Is he your tag team partner?
I didn't give him a choice. I told him he was going to be.
That'd be a good partner. Chris, pretty good. Yeah, I know it's that tag team thing. I think brings a whole new little fun aspect to it. So, you're gonna have the Van Horn brothers. You're gonna have
The Bash
Great
Brothers.
Boys. You're gonna have a bunch of us coming at you. Shit, if Josh Brewer and Jake Turner team up, man, we're screwed. So, Chris Wins Jansen could sign up with Brian Hoops. That'd be another powerhouse team. There could be some big powerhouse tag teams. So, coming up with some cool names because you got to have a team name for it for Tourney X. So, have something cool with, you can have some profanity in there too, I think. So.
Oh, it's official. Nielsen said, yeah.
It is official. Okay.
Yep.
Josh and Chris Nielsen are going to keep it in the native crew. And they're going to tag team up. So that's cool, man. So we got 2 teams already. I'm sure Dale and Brad are another team. That'd be 3. Wouldn't be surprised if you see Brian and Chris. So that'd be 4. We'll see who Jake signs up with. Jake's going to have a team with probably Brewer or one of those guys out his way. That'd be tough to deal with. So, who you got? Oh, see, Jose and Josh, man, that could be the traveling hookers. They won the what was that called? The team challenge this year for NYKBF. I think they won it. That was the Hobie Hookers. I think they called themselves. So yeah, the team formats brings a cool little change of pace to the tournaments. I know there's a couple tournaments where I was just like struggling in the last like 3 hours, and I was like, I'm not going to win. I'm not going to place. I'm just fishing for nothing at that point. And at least this gives you a reason to keep fishing besides just Monster Bass. You can be helping your teammate out at all times. So
I'm going to say perfect example on that is Old Forge this year. I mean, or not Old Forge, Saranac. I ended up with big bass. I got that 19 and a half inch. Yep. And that was the only fish I had on the board because everything else I caught was 10 and 11 inches. But if I would have had
Nielsen
as my partner, we could have taken like first between the 2 of us.
Correct. That's kind of the way I look at it, man. It'll make a bad tournament day, if you can call it that, a little bit better if your team can come out with a good limit and maybe take some extra cash home. I mean, if we got even 10 teams, you're talking. If we do $20, we're talking $200 extra on a side pot just for that team challenge. So if we get the Cayuga Lake tournament, man, we could have 20 teams. You're talking a pretty good payout for that on the side. So that's why we're doing it. Some pretty cool belts to go with it. Anything else you guys throw in the comments if you guys got any questions about next year, anything you're thinking of, suggestions, schedule ideas, anything you want to throw in. We're going to cut this off. We're right at 59 minutes. So I was trying to keep it to 1 hour, so we nailed it perfectly. So we'll give it like 2 minutes for everybody to have questions. Um, Man, I'm really excited for next year. I know I made some mistakes this year. We're not perfect as tournament directors. We're new to this. Um, I know I learned a lot. You learned a lot. You did an awesome job judging this year, learning how to judge in that April online challenge that you judged, and then you carried that into the online series and judged that. So, and then having Greg back on board judging more will help because Greg's a really good judge. He's been doing it longer than me. And there's always things that we catch from each other that maybe one guy doesn't see. But we did a good job with the measurements. I think this year we didn't have too many fish DQ'd. Very few, if any, were DQ'd. Um, yeah, so I think we had a great season. Our first year. Looking forward to it next year. It doesn't seem like there's any too big of questions going on.
And I
Um,
mean,
is this
we're,
this got to be Nielsen? I'm not looking at my phone, but
yeah,
yeah,
that's Nielsen.
I could tell.
And then Jess is the one that said you guys did a good job. But that's the big thing, guys. Like we're trying to make this a great series for all of us. We want to have something great for us. So if you've got, even if it's not questions, if you've got ideas on ways to make things better, don't be afraid to message us. I mean,
Yep.
we might, we're, like Justin said, we're both new to this. We're trying to keep improving every year. So it might be something that changes down the road. You never know.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm cutting back on tournaments next year. I'm going to cut back from the majors that I struggled in. Use that as a learning experience. I'm a few years away from getting back into the Hobies and into that stuff again. So I'm going to take a break and stick with Slay Nation. Do the KFL next year and just stick with those two. And just try to enjoy my local tournament series more. I think personally, I'll admit that I at times got in my own head. At Tupper Lake, I got in my own head based off miscommunication with me and another angler. And that's my fault for getting in my own head. It's not his fault. He knows who he is. And he kicked ass that day, and I'm proud of him. So just got to, do this for the right reasons. Remember why we're here. We're here to fish, have fun, be friends, and be good anglers to each other on the water. Um, and for the most part, we had an awesome year. Everybody got along. So we'll just keep that going into next year. Everybody have a good time. Proud of everybody, the way that they fished this year and the way that they represented New York. Proud of our Angler of the Year, Chris Wins Jansen, for representing us. Couldn't ask for a better guy to represent the tournament series than Chris. So shout out to him for that.
Yeah.
And
Congrats,
everybody,
Chris. That was awesome.
yeah, he had an awesome year. So and shout out to all our anglers that showed up, fished, even the ones that struggled. We had guys that didn't catch a fish for 5 tournaments and then still kept showing up and they caught fish after that. So persistence pays off. This is not an easy game. I've been doing it now going into my 5th year, 6th year. I don't know what I'm going into, 5th year next year. And I mean, I struggle all the time. I struggle a lot of tournaments. Um, so that's my biggest thing next year. I'm going to go into it with try to get my mental game right. And I think if I can get that right, it'll improve all the rest. And I think Josh and many of our anglers can attest to that. Is just keeping our minds in it. So I think that team thing will help with that. It'll always, if I'm struggling and my dad's having a good day, I can at least help my dad out with 1 or 2 good fish and help out with a team challenge. And I think that'll add some more fun aspect to our tournament series. I think sometimes we get so competitive that we get sidetracked a little bit by what we're there for. So, all right, man, I had a good season. I had a good show with you, man. It was good to catching up with you. Good fishing with you last weekend. I am definitely not going back out, so don't I'm going.
I plan on going out at least 1 or 2 more times before it gets too cold. So anybody in the area that wants to hit out on a weekend, hit me up. With Jansen, if you're still on, maybe we can get together this weekend because I know you were gone last weekend.
Yep. Yeah, and then next year when it starts, I think everybody will be getting on the water that first week of April, second week of April, hopefully. Um, and if you don't have somebody to fish with when it's cold like that, or this time of year when it's cold, fish with a buddy. I fished with Josh Saturday, and if I fished alone, I probably wouldn't have felt that safe because if you go in the water in the temperatures that we were in, I think it was like 38 degrees when we got out there. Um,
Yeah,
it
the
was
water
cold as
was
shit.
down to 56, and
Yeah,
it got windy as hell.
yeah. Always remember the 100-degree rule if you don't know it. If the water temperature and the air temperature do not equal 100 degrees, you are in unsafe conditions. So have the right gear and have a buddy with you. Just a suggestion from me. So that's why I fished with Josh. We ended up slamming him. He kicked my ass, like I said, but man, we had a blast out there fishing anyway for my last time out. But all right, man. So thanks for jumping on with me. I
Yeah,
will see everybody after the new year. We'll do our next live show, catch up with everybody, um, do updates with you all. But until then, we'll talk on the group forum and post some stuff in there. But other than that, everybody get out there, be safe deer hunting if you're doing that. Be safe if you're fishing. I know there's at least 2 or 3 of our anglers are probably salmon fishing. Um, it's funny because I think somebody just said that, Jess. So Greg Kronk is probably doing that right now, and I'm sure.
Travis White is.
I already seen Josh is already putting dinner on the table for Jess. So uh, be safe out there, and if you got any questions, reach out to one of the directors. Uh, and thanks for having a great 2022, Slayers. Josh, you got any last words before we head out?
Tight lines.
All right. Be safe,
Take it
everybody.
easy, guys.
We'll see you in the spring.